Question 896. Termination of the offeree's power of acceptance can result from all these causes, except A. Expiration of the offer, B. Counter-offer by the offeree, C. Rejection by the offeree communicated by mail that does not reach the offerer, D. Revocation of the offer by the offerer before the offeree has accepted the offer. Correct answer is C. Rejection by the offeree communicated by mail that does not reach the offerer. Expiration of the offer is a valid way to terminate the offeree's power of acceptance. If the offerer sets a deadline for acceptance and it passes, the offeree can no longer accept. Counter-offer by the offeree also terminates the original offer. When the offeree proposes new terms, it's essentially rejecting the original offer and making a new one. The offerer also can revoke their offer at any time before it's accepted, even if they promise to keep it open for a certain period. However, rejection by the offeree that doesn't reach the offerer does not terminate the power of acceptance. For a rejection to be effective, it must be communicated to the offerer. Until the offerer receives the rejection, the offeree still has the power to accept the offer. Question 897. A zoning ordinance makes it legal to build a new commercial building on a property in a mostly residential neighborhood, but the deed to the property prohibits commercial construction. Which should be followed, the zoning ordinance or the deed? A. Zoning ordinance. B. Deed. C. Whichever was first recorded. D. It must be decided by a zoning officer and a probate court, with joint jurisdiction. Correct answer is B. Deed. Deed restrictions, also known as covenants, conditions, and restrictions, CC&Rs, are private agreements that limit the use of property. When a zoning ordinance clashes with a deed restriction, the more restrictive rule always takes precedence. This means if a public regulation allows something a private restriction forbids, the private restriction must be followed. In this scenario, the zoning ordinance makes it legal to build a commercial building, less restrictive. The deed to the property prohibits commercial construction, more restrictive. Because the deed restriction is more restrictive than the zoning ordinance regarding commercial construction, the deed restriction must be followed. Private restrictions can set higher standards than public ones, but they cannot allow something that public zoning prohibits. Therefore, the correct answer is B. Deed. Question 898. Even if authorized by the broker, there are restrictions on who else besides the broker can withdraw funds from his trust account. Which of these persons can lawfully do so? A. An employee of the broker, but not an independent contractor. B. An employee of the broker, if the employee is covered by a surety bond protecting the broker. C. An outside auditor. D. No one besides the broker can ever withdraw funds from his trust account. Correct answer is B. An employee of the broker, if the employee is covered by a surety bond protecting the broker. In California, the handling of trust funds by real estate brokers is strictly regulated to protect the public. While the broker is primarily responsible, there are specific circumstances under which other authorized individuals can withdraw funds from a broker's trust account. According to the California Department of Real Estate, DRE, regulations, specifically Regulation 2834, withdrawals from a broker's trust account can be made upon the signature of 1. The broker themselves. 2. A salesperson licensed to the broker, if specifically authorized in writing by the broker. 3. An unlicensed employee can withdraw funds from a broker's trust account, but only if two conditions are met. They must have specific written authorization from the broker, and they need to be covered by a fidelity bond that protects the broker against theft or dishonesty. This bond provides financial protection to the broker and their clients in case of any wrongdoing by the employee. Question 899. Which of the following would not be classified as a prime tenant in a shopping mall? A. Mom and pop shoe store. B. Whole Foods. C. Ralph's. D. Apple Store. Correct answer is a mom-and-pop shoe store. A prime tenant in a shopping mall is a well-known, high-traffic retailer that attracts customers to the mall. These tenants are typically large, national chains with strong brand recognition. These tenants are crucial for attracting foot traffic, which then benefits smaller, inline stores. Mom-and-pop shoe store typically refers to a small, independent, locally owned business. While it might offer unique products, it generally occupies a small space and does not have the drawing power to serve as a primary attraction for the entire mall. It relies on the traffic generated by larger stores. Whole Foods is a large, nationally recognized grocery chain. Ralph's, part of the Kroger family, is a large, regional, national supermarket chain. Similar to Whole Foods, supermarkets are classic examples of anchor tenants because they draw a large volume of customers regularly. While an Apple Store is not a traditional large department store, it is a globally recognized brand that generates immense customer traffic and excitement. In modern malls, Apple stores often serve as mini anchors or strong drawing cards due to their unique appeal and consistent flow of visitors. Based on the definition of a prime tenant as a major draw for the mall, the mom-and-pop shoe store would not be classified as one. Question 900. This kind of damages is meant to place the party damaged by a breach of contract in the position they would have had if the breach had not occurred. A. Fairness damages. B. Compensating damages. C. Expectation damages. D. Damages of consequence. Correct answer is C. Expectation damages. Expectation damages, also known as benefit of the bargain damages, are the most common type of damages awarded for a breach of contract. Their goal is to compensate the non-breaching party for the loss of the benefit they expected to receive from the contract, effectively putting them in the financial position they would have occupied if the contract had been fully performed. This includes lost profits, lost opportunities, and other financial losses resulting from the breach. Question 901. An escrow agent for a property transaction is required by law to deliver the uniform settlement statement to the parties by A. 5 days before the closing date of the property transacted in. B. On or before the closing date. C. On or before the closing date, unless the borrower has signed a waiver agreeing to a delay. D. There is no deadline for delivering the settlement statement. Correct answer is C. On or before the closing date, unless the borrower has signed a waiver agreeing to a delay. The Uniform Settlement Statement, HUD-1, prior to TRID, or the Closing Disclosure, CD, serves as a final accounting of a real estate transaction. It details all the costs and credits for both the buyer and the seller. The primary purpose is to provide transparency regarding the financial aspects of the closing. By law, the escrow agent is generally required to deliver this completed statement to all involved parties, the borrower, seller, and lender, on or before the closing date. This ensures everyone has a clear understanding of the final financial terms before the transaction is finalized. However, a specific exception exists for the borrower's receipt. Under very limited circumstances, such as a bona fide personal financial emergency, a borrower can waive their right to receive the statement before closing. This waiver must be in writing. If such a waiver is executed, the forms must then be provided to the parties as soon as possible after the closing. Question 902. When a house is being shown to prospective purchasers, an owner should not do the following. A. Make sure no light bulbs are burned out. B. Keep the house cool when it's being shown in the summer and warm in the winter. C. Clean the drapes. D. Maintain eye contact with the potential buyers, following them from room to room. Correct answer is D. Maintain eye contact with the potential buyers, following them from room to room. This action can make potential buyers feel uncomfortable, pressured, and unable to speak freely with their agent or openly discuss their impressions of the home. It's best for owners to either leave the property during showings or remain inconspicuous, allowing the agent to guide the buyers. The other options are generally recommended actions to make the house more appealing. Good lighting makes a home feel brighter and more inviting. A comfortable temperature enhances the buyer's experience. A clean and well-maintained appearance contributes positively to a buyer's perception of the home. Question 903. Investor Zoe purchased a home for $300,000, using $50,000 of her own money for a down payment and financing the balance. 1 year later, Zoe sold the home for $325,000, realizing a 50% gain on her investment. This is an example of A. Escalation, B. Marginalization, C. Leveraging, D. Hard money investing. Correct answer is C. Leveraging. Escalation is a clause in a lease that allows the rent to increase over time, often tied to specific conditions like inflation or increased property taxes. Hard money loans are short-term loans typically used to finance real estate investments, especially those involving distressed properties. Marginalization is not commonly term used in real estate investing. Leveraging refers to the use of borrowed money to increase potential returns on an investment. In this case, Zoe used borrowed money to purchase the $300,000 home with only a $50,000 down payment. By leveraging her investment, she was able to amplify her return on the $50,000 she invested, which is a much higher percentage than if she had purchased the home with all cash. $25,000 per $300,000 equals 8.33%. This amplification of returns on equity through the use of debt is the definition of leveraging. Question 904. A is a licensee who tries to find a buyer for the property but who is not the listing agent. A. Selling agent, B. Alternate agent, C. Cooperating agent, D. Specialized agent. Correct answer is C. Cooperating agent. A cooperating agent is a real estate agent who is not the listing agent but works with the listing agent to find a buyer for the property. They cooperate to facilitate the sale and earn a commission. This emphasizes the collaborative nature of the role within the real estate transaction ecosystem. Question 905. It is important for brokers to carefully review their clients' real estate forms because A. They can charge clients an extra fee for such review, B. It is their professional responsibility to their clients, C. They can protect themselves from losing their commission, D. They can insert clauses advantageous to their client which the other party's broker will fail to notice. Correct answer is B. It is their professional responsibility to their clients. Real estate brokers have a fiduciary duty to their clients, which means they must act in their clients' best interests. This includes carefully reviewing all real estate forms to ensure that they are accurate, complete, and fair. By reviewing forms, brokers can help protect their clients from potential legal and financial risks.